Alrighty, well, good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are today. Welcome to our CEO Blueprint panel, Insights to Drive 2025 and Beyond. So for those of you I haven't had the chance to meet yet, I am Lina Castañeda, Chief Customer Officer at Thai Software, and my team focuses on ensuring our customers get the most out of their technology, especially when it comes to the TMS, of course. So I'm very, very excited to be stepping in today for this conversation. Now, I know many of you were probably expecting Mitch, our CEO, to be leading this discussion today, but unfortunately, he wasn't feeling his best after a busy week at Manifest. So I'm covering for him today. That said, I couldn't be happier to be here with this fantastic group, talking about topics that truly impact the future of freight brokerage. So today, we have an incredible panel of industry leaders who have firsthand experience in how technology is transforming brokers' workflows. At Thai Software, we've had the privilege of working closely with teams that are driving real innovation in the freight industry. And today's conversations will drive into exactly that. We will be tackling some of the biggest challenges brokers are facing right now. And most importantly, we will be sharing real actionable strategies that drive success. So before I forget, just a quick note, we won't have a live Q&A during the session, but our team will be collecting any questions you guys share and we'll follow up afterward. So if you want to connect with any of our teams, just let us know and we'll make sure to reach out. Sounds good? All right, so once again, thank you all for being here today. We all know how rare it is to get three CEOs together to share their insights. So I have no doubt this will be a highly valuable conversation. Should we do a quick round of introductions so everyone gets a bit more context on who you are, what you do, and why you're here today?
Sure.
Awesome. So Kary, let's start with you.
Sure thing. Thanks so much for having me today. My name's Kary Jablonski. I was the CEO of Trucker Tools for about 3 years, from 2021 to 2024. We were acquired in December by DAT. So I've now stepped in to continue to run the business in a GM function at DAT and have expanded my purview to focus on broker growth across the board there. So not just Trucker Tools as a business, but also DAT1 and DAT IQ, along with some forthcoming products that we have coming out, like our carrier management suite. I'm based in Chicago and really glad to be here.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that, Kary. Dawn, want to go next?
Sure. Hey, everybody. Happy to be here today. My name is Dawn Salvucci-Favier. I'm the CEO of Greenscreens.ai. I am based in Florida. Longtime partner of Thai, as one of our many TMS and other technology partners. For those of you that aren't familiar with Greenscreens, we are providing predictive pricing and business intelligence, market intelligence to freight brokers. We apply advanced machine learning and big data to help our customers not only understand how they are buying against the market, but also recommending a sell price that helps them to optimize their win rate and their margins and win more business more confidently.
Very well said. Thank you, Dawn. I'm super happy that you're here today. And last but not least, Dan, let's hear about you.
Yeah, so I'm Dan O'Connell, CEO of Front. For those that don't know Front, we're a modern customer success and service platform. So we bring together shared inbox, ticketing, and digital deflection. We've been big fans and partners with Thai for some time, and so thrilled to be here. And thanks for having me.
Thank you, Dan. It's great to have you here as well. Well, thank you all for the intros. I'm really, really excited that we could bring this conversation together today. So let's dive in. All right. As we know, the freight industry has always been dynamic. But right now, brokers are facing a unique set of challenges, right? We are talking about rising costs and shifting market conditions, evolving customer expectations, and the increasing need of operational efficiency. That said, I truly believe technology is playing a bigger role than ever in navigating these complexities, but the same questions remain. So to kick things off, I'd love to hear from each of you, what are the top challenges you are seeing today in the freight industry? Like, what's having the biggest impact right now on brokers? Kary, what do you think?
Yeah, so I can start off. I think there's really two things that come to mind for me. First and foremost, it's just the continuation of fraud that has crept up in the industry over the last 3 or 4 years. So we're seeing a lot of brokers look to understand how they can build and secure a carrier network and drive more loads to carriers that they've already worked with or that meet their qualification standards, and really get ahead of the vetting that's required when they onboard new carriers to their network. So that's really challenge number one. And then challenge number two is continuing to operate in this low margin environment that we're in and realizing that we're not going back to what was in 2020 anytime soon. So there's just a need to fundamentally reset the cost structure of your business and thinking about how many loads per day per rep can I book. There's a ton we can talk about in terms of tooling and interesting tech that is supporting growth of that metric. But I think that's a really common theme I'm hearing from brokers.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think we'll be talking about it a lot. What are your thoughts, Don?
Yeah, I mean, look, I totally agree with Kary. I think for all intents and purposes, the market sentiment is that, the market has finally mostly bottomed out from the worst recession that we've ever seen. And as the market begins to shift back to more normal, whatever that is anymore, I don't know that we know what normal will be in the future, but I think the biggest challenge that I'm hearing from our customers and our prospects is really around preparedness, right? Preparedness meaning being ready for that next market swing and the one after that, because they are, to your point, the market is very volatile and it's inevitable that that will happen. And truly understanding the impact of this next market cycle to their business strategies, because what got them through the past 2 years is not likely going to be the same things that will get them through this next cycle in the next 2 years. So when I say preparedness, that means a lot of things, right? Preparedness from a people perspective. So do they have enough of the right people in the right seats to handle more volume? If they don't, do they have an automation strategy that's going to help them to handle that potential for more volume with likely fewer people? And to Kary's point, number of loads per day per rep and how to maximize that. Preparedness from a carrier and a shipper relationship perspective, meaning do they really have the right trusted and vetted carriers to serve their customers reliably? Again, going back to Kary's point on fraud, it's rampant in the industry right now. And do they have the right mix of customers that works well for their network, not only their network, but also for their technical capabilities, right? We're seeing shipper expectations around technical capabilities also becoming more stringent. So, and I think in tying all that together, do they have the right technology to help them be more efficient and scale the business up again after really 2 years of cost cutting and deep cost consciousness?
That's really good. And I especially like what you said about the strategy that brought you here might not be the one that you need to take for wherever you want to be in the future. I think that's very, very accurate. So Dan, I really like that you're here today, and I appreciate the fresh perspective you bring to the industry. I know you've spent your career in AI and technology, but not necessarily working closely with freight brokers until now. So now that you've had the chance to dive in and analyze how things operate, what stands out to you? What are those big challenges you've seen brokers struggling with?
Yeah, so diving in, so thanks again for having me, and I think to echo some of Don's thoughts, and spending a lot of time with trucking and logistics and operations companies, just as I come into the business, I think something that stands out is just operational inefficiency. You got manual service processes, you got a lot of emails that are coming in, internal communication challenges, so people swapping between different applications actually to get these responses back. Poor process documentation, I think, are things that show up and we hear about a lot of challenges for. And I think there's just what we're all here for is I think there's the battle of legacy tech, and to Don's point of what does the future look like, and preparing for that, and the need really for integrated systems. We have a lot of integrations here for just all of us today. But I think that's the biggest need, and things that businesses are still struggling for and are trying to figure out when's the right time to make that investment. And to Don's point is you got to start thinking about the future and iteration of that. But those are some things that come top to mind from customers that I've engaged with already.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I like that we are talking about different things now, right? And that's completely positive. I mean, that means that we are evolving as an industry. So based on what you guys shared, I think it's clear that operational inefficiencies and manual processes, outdated technology continue to challenge brokers right now, of course, with fraud prevention becoming an even bigger concern. So as Kary said, it's not just about, having technology, but also having the right technology. So yeah, based on that, I guess it's fair to say that the industry is evolving, and those who embrace the right tools will be the ones who stay ahead, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so now that we've covered the key challenges that brokers are facing, let's talk solutions. So given everything that we just discussed, manual processes, inefficiencies, fraud prevention, technology as well, what advice do you have for brokers looking to overcome these hurdles? For example, AI, hot topic right now, we all know that. How are you all thinking about AI in your day-to-day operations? And how much should freight brokers be considering it as part of their strategy? Kary, I think this is a good one for you, and I'm pretty sure you have some great news to share about this. So want to share your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say we should go to Dawn. She's got AI in the company name, but I'm happy to start it off.
Okay.
So yeah, we're thinking a lot about AI in terms of, I think the buzzy thing that everyone's thinking about right now are those outbound carrier sales dialers. There are 10, 15, maybe even 20 now on the market. And I was just in the Manifest conference and had the opportunity to talk with a number of them. And so Trucker Tools, for those of you who aren't familiar, we are a visibility and tracking solution for carriers to provide brokerages and their shippers full visibility end-to-end on a load. We track mostly through ELD and mobile app along with texting, but we're really interested in these auto dialers to see if that's an additional fourth step of our waterfall we can add through. And I think what's exciting about this new technology that has emerged very quickly is that it's like spectacular, and it's a kind of a shock and awe wow factor when you listen to it. What I'd advise brokers who are thinking about that sort of technology is to get really specific with the questions they're asking vendors about, can you show me the ROI of this? What is the time savings? What are the success rates on calls picked up? Those sort of things. And that's frankly how we're thinking about which ones do we integrate with? How do we add this to our waterfall? On the DAT side of things, we're doing a ton with AI on rating and pricing. And we're also now beginning to integrate AI into the way we're thinking about fraud detection. We know that's been a huge point of feedback from users across the board over the last couple of years, that the fraud vector has really started with the load board, and thinking about how do we use AI to recognize patterns when there's likely something fraudulent happening to get ahead of. It doesn't have to be a manual process, but we can actually detect that in real time.
That's very exciting, actually, and I think that's exactly the kind of innovation brokers need. Like bringing everything into one seamless workflow instead of piecing together disconnected tools. So yeah, integration is key, and that's why we're so focused on ensuring that TMS serves as a central hub for brokers, for example. Then when solutions like Trucker Tools plug in directly, it for sure eliminates unnecessary steps and reduces error. So it helps teams operate more efficiently. And at the end of the day, the more brokers can streamline their operations within a single ecosystem, well, the more time they have to focus on growth and strategy instead of just keeping up with the day-to-day tasks, I'll say. Dawn, go ahead.
Yeah, so as Kary said, AI is always top of mind for me. I have AI in the name of my business, so that's what we do. We live and breathe AI. But look, AI comes in many flavors. It is definitely a core component, as I see, in driving efficiency in the business. From the machine learning flavor of AI, like we do with predictive pricing that we do, to a lot of the quote automation tools that are out there, and inbox assistance and digital dispatch tools and the like. And I really think that from an optionality and an accessibility of technology perspective, there's never been a better time to be a tech buyer in our industry right now. The key is finding the ones that are able to work seamlessly and effectively together to meet your specific business needs. And I think that fragmented technology platforms that are loosely integrated and being held together by duct tape and baling wire are no longer going to be adequate, right? Brokers really need to be looking towards an integrated ecosystem to, the point that both Lina and Kary made. But that doesn't mean that they need a single source vendor, right? That's going to provide them with all of the capabilities that they need. I think the reality is that it's likely impossible for any single tech vendor to be extraordinary at everything, right? Many have tried, most have failed. I've been a part of that in my past life as well, trying to be all things to all people. But I think the tech stack of the future is one where the TMS, like Ty has done this very well, serves as the orchestration and the execution layer that's supported not only by their own native features and modules, but also tightly integrated into best of breed specialized applications that are curated to a specific use case, right? To meet the users in their existing workflows without needing to have 700 browser tabs open on 3 monitors. And really at Greenscreens, we've built our whole company not only as an AI and business intelligence company, but also around the notion of being tightly integrated not only into the TMS as that orchestration and execution layer, but also into all of the adjacent tech solutions that support automation and decision support throughout the entire quote to booking cycle. And our role in that is really informing that entire ecosystem on real-time, highly accurate market pricing to, again, help the users make better decisions faster. And I know it's a somewhat controversial statement these days. We've heard it a lot at Manifest. We've heard people complaining about hearing it at Manifest. But I stand by the fact that, look, AI is not going to replace you, but a human using AI might, right? Because I truly believe, even as the CEO of an AI company, AI's role is to empower and enable the user, not replace the user.
Yeah, that's very well said. And as you were saying, it takes a lot about understanding where your business is at the moment, like where the inefficiencies are, what tools you need, because it's not about one single tool, as you were saying. It's about finding that ecosystem that can, like collaborate and work together in order to bring you more value. So yeah, completely agree with you. Dan, as per your experience with Front, is there anything else you want to add here? Any other advice you may have for brokers to face challenges?
Yeah, I think just to echo, a little bit of Kary and Don's points, like markets are cyclical. And so you got to be prepared for change and new things to happen. And so there's never a better time to look at new technologies. I think you got to be really focused of like, what's the main foundational problem that you're looking to solve? And then to Don's point, I think, automation can sometimes have this negative word, but really what you're focused on is, look, our focus specifically, I think for many others is, look, we're not here to replace people. You're trying to drive efficiency from the people that you have. And I do think that impacts the future headcount that you're thinking about. But again, it's not about the replacing existing employees, at least in my mind, when I think about automation. It's really about how do we enable these tools to drive increased proficiency and efficiency from the existing teams. And then how do we think about the future headcount, knowing that like there's these very natural cycles that the economy goes through. And so again, I think there's like just some very interesting applications for AI. I think you got to be really clear of like, what's the problem that you're solving? And then how do you think naturally as running a business, like how does that impact your future headcount and investments that you want to do?
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's such an important point, like scalability without sacrificing quality. I think it's key. So having a strong core technology foundation isn't just about, handling more loads. It's more about handling them better. So the right tools should empower brokers to, work smarter, not just faster, ensuring that automation and efficiency don't come at the expense of accuracy or customer experience. So yeah, I think we all can agree that at the end of the day, technology should enhance decision-making and service quality, just not replace the manual effort, which should be a mistake sometimes, or could be a mistake. All right, so continuing with the topic of solutions, Don, with your extensive experience working with different teams and companies, I'm sure you've seen firsthand what works and what doesn't. So for brokers looking to implement these changes, where should they start? And if you were to build a brokerage from the ground up today, what would you do differently to set it up for success? Whether in technology or processes, strategy?
I think it's a combination of all of those things. I think the first and foremost, you really need to understand your goals of any technology project. I mean, no doubt there is a tech solution out there for virtually everything that you could possibly need right now, but staying clear and committed to your goals and what you hope to achieve from any tech initiative is number one. From there, I think that companies really need to be sure that the business case for implementing that technology, well, first that they have one, B that business case aligns not only with those goals, but also aligns with your employee incentive plans and the ROI. Nothing kills the ROI of a tech project faster than users not adopting the technology, right? But likewise, nothing helps to drive user adoption faster than ensuring that the value that's provided, or maybe more importantly, the way the value is measured by the technology, is aligned with the way that those users are incentivized, right? And I think hard stop there. Next, I would say that what is needed to going to need to change in your organization, or at least acknowledging that some things are likely going to need to change, and that everyone from the top down in the organization has bought into that. To do otherwise is really just implementing technology for technology's sake. And frankly, some of the biggest mistakes that I've seen with the technology initiative are related to lack of change management, right? So I think then and only then, so once you understand your goals, you align your business case for the technology with those goals and the way that your users are incentivized, and that you acknowledge that there's going to need to be some change management, then and only then are you really ready to start making those buying decisions and rolling that tech out within your organization.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think I keep talking about change management every single day to my whole team. And I think it's a huge factor in something that we are really starting to prioritize now. So is change management important to you as well, Dan, Kary?
Yeah, I think that, one of the things that stands out, and I think Don said less eloquently, is like, you got to start with like the foundational problem that you're trying to solve. And I think one thing is like, you don't want to go chase like the offshoot opportunity, but really, if you're not solving the core problem, I think that's where you suffer from low adoption, because you're probably not working on, you're not prioritizing solving the right thing. For us at Front, as a customer support platform, like we naturally view the inbox and emails and communications, both internally and externally, as like a massive opportunity, or where a lot of frustration can happen. So again, just to highlight the point, like we tend to push people to think about like, look, that's a core foundational problem. If you can't communicate effectively internally and externally, then a lot of the other things break down. And again, so solving that problem can again help drive alignment, opportunity. And to Don's point, I think a lot of this is change management, which is just reiterating that you got to get over the hump of giving people new experiences and comfort. And there's going to be a learning curve to it. It's not going to be the same as the old way. I think these are rudimentary points, but they're just in leadership, like those are the things that you have to focus on. Is just reiterate that change is hard and you've got to embrace it. And again, to Don's point, like you want to be able to demonstrate the impact and the ROI that you're getting from it.
Awesome. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Kary? Sorry, you're muted.
I'm sorry about that. The only thing I'd add to what Dan and Don shared is that I think it's something critical for especially earlier stage brokerages to think about, that might be counterintuitive as you're getting started, is to get really, really specific on the couple of things you're going to do really well. So rather than trying to be everything to everyone, anchor on a couple of things. And I think that can really help with any sort of change management, which, like Dan said, is going to be fast and furious and constant, because it gives you as a leader a talk track that you can anchor to. Here are the couple of things that we do really well and really differently. And we're not going to be able to boil the ocean and do it all. So we're going to focus on continuing to pursue the couple of things that we do really well. I think that will set you up well to then also make decisions about your tech stack down the line. What are the capabilities that we need to enable fast and really well?
I think it's like, just to chime in, there's a question that I'm seeing that's around this for a young startup entrepreneur. And I think Kary's point is like really eloquent. And I think it gets missed by big companies and small companies, which is like, you can't be everything to everybody. Like you got to focus, like, what are the things you want to do really well and just focus on that. And the same for solving problems, right? It's like, what's the biggest problem, and don't get distracted by the little things that might drive some small efficiency gains. Like, what's the core problem? So I think really eloquently said.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think success starts with focus. So brokers need to first understand where they are and identify inefficiencies, streamline operations before even building a strong relationships for long-term reliability. And then in the end, having a scalable, integrated approach is what will set them apart in today's competitive market. All right, I'm going to ask a question that I know many brokers out there have, and I'm very, very interested in hearing what you guys have to say too. So we can say that technology and automation are transforming brokerage operations, but relationships remain at the heart of this industry. So how do you navigate that balance between leveraging automation for efficiency while still maintaining the strong personal connections that set brokers apart? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to hop in. I probably alluded to it, like sometimes automation can get this bad rap. And I think, look, if everybody in the world is focused on automation, then at the end of the day, like the place we get to is just kind of the bots talking to each other. And again, when you think about like these industries, in this industry specifically, it's so relationship based. And I think that's what makes it special and unique. And so when I think about automation, applying it to front, again, as a support platform, it's really about, look, we don't want to replace the human experience and those relationships, but we want to drive efficiency. So our focus on the automation piece is really around like, where do you waste time? And how do we solve that for you? Whether it's around insights, Don's working on business intelligence. How do we help you make smarter decisions? How can we get a draft email crafted for you? We're not expecting to send the email out without your control or knowledge or comfort with that. But again, it's about focus on driving efficiency so you can maintain that human aspect. Because I think ultimately in specific industries, like that's where I view the relationships as a differentiator for your business. And so that stuff matters. And so again, you can't automate away the relationships.
Yeah, and what I'd add to that is the way we think about it and have thought about it at Trucker Tools is shifting from reactive communication with your customers to proactive communication. And the proactive communication is really where the relationships are made. Check calls, awesome example. Our technology makes it possible so you don't have to ever make a check call again. You can get all of your location updates from ELDs or mobile app, and we'll pass them on to your shipper for you. We'll pull them right into TIE. And that's great because it means you don't ever need to call a driver and say, hey, where are you? Which is kind of by definition going to piss them off and start to erode your relationship. Instead, we're building tech that allows us to get in front of you. Hey, there might be something going wrong with this load. The ETA is not looking right. We've lost signal. Something sketchy is happening. You need to check in on this so you can proactively identify when there's an issue going on and really come with a solution mindset to whatever's happening as opposed to just a status check-in. So I think it's about selecting the points that you are blending tech and the human touch and making sure that they are relationship builders rather than just status checkers.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, look, freight is a relationship business. It always has been. It always will be. And as both Dan and Kary have said, the automation is really there to empower people to make better decisions and free up their time from some of the mundane, routine, repetitive tasks. And what technology doesn't do well is relationships, human emotion, and exceptions, really, right? Most technology do not handle exceptions well, and that's really where the value is. But not only that, to the point that Kary was making, is enhancing those relationships and doing more analysis and finding the customers and carriers that can really augment or improve your existing network, right? And those aren't the things that an AI assistant or any tech is really going to do. That's really about using the data that the automation tools are arming you with in order to go find those diamonds in the rough, right? Those carriers that can serve a niche in your network that you may have issues with, or those customers that can augment your network and create some great backhaul opportunities for some of your carriers. And that's really, where we like to see people redeploying those human assets that, can do this a lot better than the technology can.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I guess we can say that automation should be seen as a tool to strengthen, not replace relationships. And then by removing repetitive tasks, brokers can move from reactive to a more strategic communication. So as Kary was saying, focusing on those meaningful conversations that really build trust and drive long-term success for brokers. I think it's very, very important. Already. So we already covered the key challenges brokers are facing today and the strategies to overcome those. So now let's shift our focus a little bit and discuss what's next. I'd love to all of us to get excited for what's to come, because I know there are tons of amazing things happening right now. So let's go ahead and share what's top of mind for you guys in 2025 and what's next for your company and your product. Dan, do you want to start here? Like, what's coming for you and Front in 2025?
Yeah, so I think like the big, as I alluded to, as a customer support platform, we deliver shared inbox and ticketing, really around how do we leverage automation to help free up the problem, like the rudimentary problems that are showing up that you're spending time on. How do we consolidate some of the communication channels? Again, we know that brokers are spending a lot of time switching between different applications, different tasks, or are heavily invested in how do we provide a seamless omni-channel experience. And then again, how do we give you control around the AI that we are delivering in the features, which again is like, you should have the ability to define and control where AI is applied within your business and where it's not. Again, talking about it from an inbox, an email, and a ticketing standpoint. And so those are the things that we're like heavily invested in. The last piece is I think, to the point, it's not just about powering communications for us, but understanding what's happening in some of those communications. So we are making investments in what we call quality assurance, which is how can we apply AI to understand what's happening in the types of responses and engagements with your customers or with your brokers? How can you deliver exceptional service and get those insights without actually putting people on top of it? Again, these are like very real, very nice applications of AI that we think deliver value. And again, naturally, people kind of throw people at those problems as opposed to technology. But again, we're also heavily invested in like the integrations that we have here on those pieces, because I do think that, to Don's earlier point, there's no one piece of software that does it all. And that is a little bit of like a myth and fallacy. And so you want to figure out like where are the foundational points within your business, and then can those different pieces of software integrate tightly together to provide a lot more value and a lot more efficiency for your business as a whole.
Mm-hmm. That's great to hear, and that's exactly why we are so excited about the whole integration between TIE and Front. I think it's already helping so many brokers streamline their inbox management and operate more efficiently in general. So yes, as you are saying, AI-powered insights and automation aren't just about speed. They are more about making smarter decisions, improving response quality, as you were saying, and like all of that translates into enhancing customer experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to see Front continuing to invest in these capabilities, and we are absolutely thrilled to be a part of that ecosystem. So thank you for sharing that. All right, Kary, I know you've been sharing some news about the product, but what else is there for you guys? What is coming this year?
Yeah, there's two things I want to hit on, and one is on the trucker tool side and one is on the DAT side. So the big theme for us for tracking in 2025 with trucker tools is proactive exception management. It's very much aligned to what I was just sharing about relationships and how they intersect with technology. How do we thinking about making sure that tracking is something that's happening all the time in the background, because it should be, and it can be with the tech that we have now and the carrier network we have, and notifying you when there's something that requires an exception, whether it's a number of fraud alerts that we just rolled out. We rolled out our first batch in October. We've got more alerts right now. So we'll notify you if we're hitting an offshore data center, or there's a spoofing device, or someone's been overbooked. thinking about ETA management and ETA exceptions, getting ahead of those, off-route alerting, carriers being too far from the place of pickup. So again, just really thinking about how do we make sure that tracking becomes a proactive management tool as opposed to a reactive one, and building that into our product. The second big thing is that at DAT historically has really had two core products: the load board DAT1 and IQ, our rating product. And this year we're launching a third, our carrier management suite, that is going to be a real game changer for capacity users of the DAT network. So it's really it's been designed to solve for three key things. The first is the ability to actively monitor and vet your carrier network. That is something that right now is not a part of the DAT product. And we have so much data, especially now with the Trucker Tools acquisition, that we're all able to bring into a single place, that we can notify you when things change with carriers. There might be an update that is a little bit fishy, so that you're able to actually build some scale into the way your team is handling your carrier network. Secondly, DAT has historically been a place where you go for those last minute loads. We want to move upstream. How can we be a partner in proactively searching for new capacity? So again, a big part of that is the Trucker Tools team and data that we're bringing over. We have so much great, rich carrier profile data on where carriers like to run, that we're able to curate these really rich portraits for you, so that you as a broker can not just be booking loads last minute, but actually move upstream and start to build out your carrier network. And then finally is you're going to be able to search for capacity now in a more filterable way. Right now on DAT, you only have the option, hey, I'm just going to post to everyone. We're introducing this concepts of posting to filters, so that you're able to set different qualification settings for different carriers. Maybe it's different customers, different types of freight, who knows, that you're going to be able to filter out and have different layers of freight only available to them. So we're really going from kind of a Craigslist model, if you will, into more of an Expedia, Facebook marketplace, more dynamic, rule set based marketplace. And we couldn't be more excited about it.
That's pretty cool. Very exciting. And yeah, I think that's exactly the direction the industry needs to be moving, making, technology work for brokers, not adding more complexity to the whole process. So yeah, it's so cool to see integrations like DAT and Trucker Tools that remove that friction and help brokers operate more efficiently in general. And as we've said many times here, the more we can eliminate inefficiencies and automate the right tasks, the more time brokers have to focus on what truly drives success. So that's always a huge win, I think. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Dawn, what's next for you in Greenscreens?
Yeah, awesome. So for us, we are really focused in 2025 on continuing to innovate, to deliver value to our customers across the whole quote to cash life cycle, both organically with our own products as well as working with our partners. And as the market begins to shift, we anticipate that our customers' needs and focus are likely going to shift along with it. So we're really focused right now on staying close to the market, so that we can anticipate some of those needs and react quickly to those that we can't anticipate. 2024 was really focused on us adding some new strategic BI tools that are kind of both longer range trend analysis as well as forward looking. But 2025 is going to be focused more on what I would call quality of life enhancements, right? Improving the quality of the life of our end users, as well as expanding into longer term forecasting and RFP support, right? So more and more we're seeing that more brokers are capturing a spot on the routing guide, right? As a primary or a secondary through contracted rates with the shippers. RFP support is becoming more and more critical to the brokers. So incorporating things like long-term forecasting in addition to the spot market short-term forecasting we've been doing, and enhanced RFP support, but also beginning to look at some additional modalities like drayage and additional geographies like cross-border Mexico is really hot right now. Those were kind of at Manifest last week. I think we were all there. Those were the two hot topics. We had a lot of people come into our booth and asking about both of those items, which fortunately are already kind of on our radar for this year, but really trying to remain focused on what's well suited to our current product offering, right? I don't want to see us lose focus and become too broad. But if we believe if we stay focused on doing those things, so improving the quality of life of our users and then staying with capabilities that are well suited to our current product offering and our expansion, that we'll be able to help our customers grow and therefore grow our own business organically.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you're saying all the right things there, and staying close to the market and evolving with customers' needs is key in such a dynamic industry. Also, the focus on the quality of life enhancements that you were mentioning, I think it's everything. And I guess by nature, we always want to go big, but small improvements in workflow efficiency can have a huge impact on brokers' day-to-day operations. And listen, I'm saying this because I see it every single day with new customers when we go through the whole discovery process with them. It's really like the small details, the ones that make a huge difference in their operations. So I think both your team and mine share that commitment to continuous innovation, and we definitely love seeing partners like you investing in tools that truly help brokers grow. All right, let's see. I think we have time for one more question, so I'll ask my bonus question here, and it is about culture. So we all know company culture plays a huge role in overall success. It's not just about internal dynamics, but also about how it impacts customer relationships and innovation and growth in general. So what's one culture building tactic that has had a significant impact on your company, and how has it influenced the broader organization? Does anyone volunteer? Go ahead.
I can start with that. So ownership is something that's really important to us at Trucker Tools, and something that we developed a year or two ago, or these concept of quarterly tiger teams. We were going through these long, complex quarterly planning processes, and you can plan till the cows come home around every metric all the way out. And we realized what we needed as a fast-growing, nimble organization was, again, what I said earlier, just focus on a couple of key things that were going to be real needle movers for us. So what we committed to as a leadership team was deciding on what are the 3 to 4 big rocks each quarter. And we wanted to make it a quarter because we thought it was short enough to drive real accountability, but long enough to actually see some results and get some real things done. What are the 3 to 4 big things each quarter that we want to achieve? And we call them tiger teams. And we now assign a leader to those. They're very cross-functional by nature. There's almost always someone from engineering, from product, from marketing, from sales, from our customer-facing teams involved. And this can be anyone within an organization who's the leader. It's been a great way to really elevate some of our folks who are doing amazing work, to give them real meaty cross-functional leadership positions. And we've set them up, and it's been remarkable how our team has leaned in so hard to making these things, making the initiatives a reality, as opposed to looking up the chain for approval or authority. They really go, and the leadership team just serves to steer and provide guardrails and guidance when questions come up. And I think it's really contributed to our culture of ownership.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Dawn, Dan, do you want to add anything here?
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in. I'll kind of echo what Kary said about accountability, and I love to hear that she used the term rocks. So I mean, look, accountability and empowerment are really critical components of our culture here. And you guys have probably heard our marketing slogan, no BS, just GS, but it's not just a marketing slogan for us. I mean, that's how we deal with every interaction, whether it's internal or external. No BS, nobody's got time for that. Let's be accountable. Kary mentioned rocks. We as a company have been rolling out traction tools, EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system. And as I was kind of retraining myself on that, there was a quote that I particularly latched onto, and it was take your monkeys with you, which is I guess kind of a counter response to someone says, not my circus, not my monkeys, not my problem. So we really believe in empowering our people and holding our people accountable to not just being part of the problem, but to being part of the solution, right? We want everybody to raise issues and to have a voice when they see them, but also to come to the table with suggestions to solve the problem, not just drop it on the table. So ensuring clear ownership and accountability, and then take your monkeys with you, right? Like it's that's something that we've been really focused on as a leadership team. And I think as a company that from the beginning, we've been fully remote. We've had to embrace collaboration and interaction, whether that's through technology tools to enable that, or daily stand-up calls, or weekly go-to-market, or cross-departmental meetings where everybody really does have a voice and everybody gets to sit at the table and take action and be held accountable. And I guess the last thing I'll share on this is when our CTO joined our company just over a year ago, Matt Harding, our CTO, one of the observations that he made or it was pretty profound. He said, to be great at anything, you need to have a group of people who are working hard that love the problem that they're working hard at solving more than the people for whom you're trying to solve the problem. And that's something that we've really instilled at Greenscreens too, through the culture that we've created and the team that we've assembled of people that have really come out of industry, that have sat in the seat of our customers and have deep, deep empathy for the problems that we're trying to solve with our customers. I think that's been, those two things really have been a huge part of the culture that we've created at Greenscreens.
Yeah, that's very well said. And I think a strong company culture isn't just about core values as we used to think. I think it's more about action. So everything you guys are saying about accountability, ownership, collaboration is key, even in a fully remote environment, which we know it can be tricky sometimes, but also very, very rewarding when the plan is executed in the right way. Do you want to add anything, Dan?
Yeah, I'll just say it. I know we're probably tight on time, like very quickly, but like when we're talking about accountability, ownership, and then deep empathy, I think something that is a unique approach for us, again, as Front as a support platform, is we have all of our frontiers hop in our support queue. And I think it really accomplishes two things by forcing people to do that. One is they get to really understand like the customer problems that people are facing. So whether you're in marketing, whether you're an engineer, whether you're in sales, you really do have deep empathy for like the problems. And then two is it also fosters what I think is critical for anybody's success. It's just like alignment and confidence in the product that you are both building and using. And so it just helps develop product knowledge, which again, I think everybody should have just in their role within a business. And so just a unique way that I think for us is we force all of our frontiers to get involved, answer customer problems, helps them understand the market and the problems better, and we can make better decisions, whether that's in sales, marketing, or product.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that's huge for us as well this year, knowledge transfer and, leveling up always. Like we are always learning, we're always finding new things. So yeah, level up at all times. Alrighty. Well, before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you, maybe just share a quick actionable takeaway for our listeners. So based on our discussion today, what's one piece of advice or insight you think the audience should walk away with and implement as soon as possible? Who wants to start?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'll take the easy one. I think that we've all probably echoed. We'll get it out of the way. I think like pinpoint and prioritize like one big inefficiency. Don't try to do too much. And I think that's like a very natural thing, whether you're in a big company, whether you're just starting off on your journey and entrepreneurial, whether you're whatever the role might be. It's just like constantly prioritize and like focus on like what's the big thing that you need to get done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true that. Alrighty, Kary, want to go?
Write down your goals. I think it's a bit of a build on Dan's, but you'd be surprised. There's some studies about how much more likely you are to achieve your goals if you write them down, but I think it forces clarity and alignment with an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to know where you're heading to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you. Done?
And I would just echo what they said and then add to that what I said earlier, and understanding that what got you here is not likely what's going to get you to the next level, especially as the market continues to change. So being really clear about, how your strategy may need to change as the market begins to shift, especially if you are a newer brokerage that or even a tech company that came into the market during this last cycle, or even came into the market during the pandemic era, right? we continue to see unprecedented times. So really understand how your business strategy is going to need to change to get to that next level.
Yeah, I agreed. Well, there you have it. Those were some great pieces of advice, I think. Definitely things that we can all reflect on and implement within our teams. So thank you all for sharing that. And I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So let's wrap up if you are okay with that. Are we good?
Sure.
Alrighty.
Great.
Well, I was just listening to you guys throughout the whole session and I guess reflecting on what you were saying. And I think this conversation has made one thing clear, which is that success in this industry isn't about keeping up, but about staying ahead. So today we've covered the biggest challenges brokers are facing, the technology, and also the strategies that can drive real change. So looking ahead to 2025, I guess it's all about focus, eliminating inefficiencies, as we were saying before, embracing the right technology, fostering relationships that can create long-term success for everyone. We all know that the freight industry is evolving quickly, but with the right tools, with the right mindset, the right culture within our companies, the right strategy, I think we all have an incredible opportunity to grow and thrive. So I just want to thank you all. Thank you to our incredible CEOs for sharing your insights and experiences with us. And of course, thanks to all of you who joined for being part of the discussion as well. Let's keep the conversation going. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And remember, the best way forward is together. And that's why we were all here today. So thank you again, everyone, and see you next time.
Thanks for
Thank
having us.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.